All right, so let's go three, two, one, and action.
How's everyone doing today, this fine Sunday evening or afternoon now? Probably afternoon.
Afternoonish.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, guys, welcome to PS Comics. I love you. I'm one of your hosts for the evening or afternoon, JR Kapkungan, aka the Dark King, and to my left here, I have the one and only Kevin Pillow, aka the.
I'm the voice of reason.
Mm,
I live up to the name sometimes, but I am Kevin Pillow. You can find me on social media at Voice of Reason 23, and like my colleague over here, you can find him on Instagram when he posts once a century. Uh,
Blue Moon.
at
Uh,
at uh,
I guess I do it again.
at also not JR Comics 42. I meant to ask you the 42. Are we going with a Jackie Robinson reference there?
I think we had this conversation before. It's actually because it might yeah, we talked about this before because I was super edgy as a teenager, right? Teenager like younger adulthood into my 20s, and then the 42 in Japanese calligraphy or katakana means death when you add them together in symbols.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, my like my that was my I guess my Xbox name was Kurosaki 42, right? And long story short, there was an anime character named last name is Kurosaki. He was a death dealer slash death god, and then 42, super edgy, super
What
emo.
what my co-host is saying is that he lives up to the name, the Dark King. So just saying.
Yeah.
But no, it was just funny because you, I wouldn't necessarily knowing. Okay, I know you. I've known you for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you enjoy sports. You like basketball for the most part. You are a
Love
big time
basketball.
Laker fan, which I know you're
Yep.
loving right now.
Too
Um,
early. They start at 4 o'clock. I'm hoping we end this before then.
you're a diehard Kobe fan,
Oh,
which I know he
absolutely.
was 24. So I thought maybe that was the connection at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started talking with you over the last month, a few months or so. Obviously your
Mm-hmm.
connection with Chadwick and your your love for not only cinema but your love for moving forward and for inclusion and stuff like that. And nothing is more of a wonderful story of inclusion than that of Jackie Robinson, of course, who famed
Absolutely.
War 42, and of course Chadwick did the movie 42. So I've
Mm-hmm.
always met. I know you had told me before. I'd completely forgotten because I needed therapy after you told me. But no, just kidding. But like Jr. said, we want to get this show on the road because Jr. has tip off to make as he's a
Uh,
LeBron fan.
ha! I'm a Laker
I
fan
know
for
you're a
far.
Laker fan. You love, as far as I know, you've always the only player you love is
Mm-hmm.
Kobe.
Kobe, absolutely. I grew up on Kobe. Kobe basically was majority of my life, of my childhood going into my adult life because he's been a Laker for 20 years, even though there've been like three occasions where he wanted to be traded. But then thankfully cooler heads prevailed and he just finished his career off. And I was gonna be a Kobe. I'm still a Kobe Bryant fan because I was more excited to see what he was gonna do in the 20 years after his NBA career. But then sadly, of course, he was taken from us way too early. But
2020 happened, bro.
I know, man.
2020
2020 can
happened, bro.
suck the biggest, fattest.
You
You
know
know what I'm
what?
talking about.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick before we completely jump onto the deep end of not safe for work, let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
something really quick that is safe for work. This past
Mm-hmm.
week, I had a chance to catch up with another longtime friend of mine. His name is Eric Pesolano. He runs a really cool company that actually just recently garnered the rights to the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. He does a bunch of cool sports podcasts, including 5 Minutes with Eric Pesolano, which is the show that I did. It's 5 minutes of talking about sports, and that, with me, that's not nearly enough, and with the two of us, it's not even close to being enough. But I had the chance to be on that show. It will air sometime in the very near future on his YouTube channel and his website. We'll have the link on our social media as well as my personal one at Voice of Reason 23. He did, without even being asked, he was very gracious enough to promote PS Comics I Love You on his platform. He says he's caught a couple of the episodes and really enjoys what JR and I do. Uh, what I do want to plug for him that is available now is if you go on to any podcast platform like Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, you can check out Drafting the Magic. Really cool show, cool concept. It takes the fantasy football draft idea and mixes a little bit of Disney magic. And what it is they draft different aspects of the Walt Disney Corporation, more specifically Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure, when it comes to the best food, the best rides, the best shows, all that kind of stuff. And they do it in a draft format. So, like in this case, I would pick, and then JR would have to pick something, but you can't pick the same thing over and over again. Like if I picked, say, best attraction, and I picked California Screamin', he's got to pick something else. If he picks Tower of Terror, I can't pick that, and we got to build our best list of 5. That's basically what drafting the magic is. It's really cool. Check it out, and check out. Show a lot of love to Eric and his broadcast partner with his new company and his new ventures. Hopefully when COVID is over, he can go back to what he does best, and that is hosting high school hockey with the Anaheim Ducks and their league. But wanted to show some love. I will probably somewhere on the bottom. I'll post the link to the website and more information about his podcast. But I wanted to give him some love because it kind of crosses over. We're into pop culture. Disney's very much about pop culture. Yeah. And I did tell him, JR, that you hold a very strong opinion of Disney's Mulan, and he fortunately, knock on wood, at this very moment, he is not one of the 28,000 people that are going to lose their job with the Disney parks. But he told me that if he does, at some point he will listen to that podcast. If he is a member of the 28,000, it'll be the first thing he listens to. I told him fast forward to the end and listen to JR talking about Mulan. But nonetheless, no, he said he really enjoys the work we do, and
I could rant about that forever.
Oh, we won't. We don't say the word. We don't say the M word around JR anymore. It's like a dirty word.
Yeah.
Before you get into the fun stuff, because I'm looking at your rundown, dude. Yeah. You've got some badass stuff coming up. Another bit, and I hate doing this, but let's get the bad news out of the way. In the last 24 hours, unfortunately, some news came down in the world of cinema, and that is the parent company of Regal Cinemas is going to be closing over 500 locations across the United States and the United Kingdom. Now, this is not a complete closure at press time. This is just they will be shuttering their cinemas. Now, about here in the Coachella Valley, here in Southern California, we have 3 Regal locations, one in Indio, one in Rancho Mirage, and one in Palm Springs. According to the local news, those 3 locations opened back up for a limited access about 2 weeks ago. Within the next week or so, they will be shutting down for an extended period of time. This came on the heels of, well, you guessed it, another movie being pushed to 2021. And the nail that seems to be in the coffin of the cinematic 2020 experience is that of James Bond. I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head, but James Bond will be moved to April of 2021, leaving technically one major tentpole movie left on the 2020 schedule, and that is Christmas Day's release of Wonder Woman 84. Warner Brothers has not yet removed that movie from its release date of Christmas Day, but is expected to be removed and most likely go back to its original, I think it was a July release.
If I remember correctly, it was around. It should have been
like a June or July release.
Yeah.
So it sounds like everything is kind of being pushed now and kind of settling back in to its relatively close release time from 2020 in a 2021 calendar year. But nonetheless, I just want to start off with that unfortunate news. We wish all the people the best of luck who work at the Metro 8 in Indio, the Regal, Rancho 16, and then I don't know what the Palm Springs one's called.
I think it's the other one over here. Yeah, it's I forgot what it's called too, actually, but yeah, it's over here. It's the one downtown Palm Springs. Yeah.
I see. I didn't even know that there was a theater in downtown Palm Springs. Little did I know.
I mean, it's been there for a while. I haven't gone to that specific that Regal Cinema forever, dude. But yeah, it's right downtown Palm Springs, and I remember going there watching Spider-Man 3 way back when, and a bunch of other movies before. Then, for some reason, I just stopped going. I don't know, maybe because it's. Yeah.
Speaking of which, you said a key word there. You didn't have that on your rundown. Do you want to talk about that bit of news?
Which news?
Spider-Man 3. Did you not hear?
I did not. What's
it is all but official, ladies and gentlemen. that the next incarnation of Tom Holland's
Uh,
Spider-Man will have a villain. Does the villain exist in the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, or does it exist in the Amazing Spider-Man universe
that's right. Yeah.
and crosses over? That's right. Jamie Foxx will
Yeah.
reprise his role as Electro in Spider-Man 3. Now, in a since deleted Instagram post, he specifically said, I will not be blue, but I will be badass. Which, of course, led our friend Boss Logic, which, by the way, go check him out on Instagram and Facebook because you should see his rendition of Electro in a new modern 2020, 2021, whatever you want to call it, costume. He is sans blue skin. Now, of course, the internet blew up because not only did Jamie Foxx post a picture saying that he was going to be playing Electro for the Marvel Spider-Man universe, but which of course we know does exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hmm.
But he teased some Electro artwork. One of them was very specific because it was a picture of Jamie Foxx's Electro in the sky, this
Hmm.
gigantic face of him, and there were not one, not two, but three different Spider-Men looking up at Electro. Was that a Freudian slip? Was that accidental? Was that just pure happenstance? We don't know if
Was
he
that
was
from Boss
alluding to.
Logic?
No, this was Jamie Foxx's Instagram account.
Oh.
The account the post has since been deleted, but a very specific picture was posted, and it has a picture of Electro, kind of a silhouette of him in the sky. It was Jamie
Hmm.
Foxx's face, and there were three Spider-Men. Now, one of them, this what's kind of throwing the internet off a little bit, is that one of them had the very kind of like the Spider Sense little squiggly lines coming from
Yeah.
his head, which is reminiscent of the Miles Morales into the Spider Verse version of Spider-Man, which is of course animated. So people are probably saying it's just fan art that Jamie Foxx just happened to pick. So don't look too much into that. Yeah, Jamie Foxx possibly going to be in the MCU. Another list of Academy Award winners that are coming to Marvel.
Not
And
surprising.
it's been it's. I will tell you this: at least Marvel has been busy,
Yeah.
and October is going to be great. I know that we're going to wrap up the show in a little bit, talking about the best of September.
Yeah.
Jr. In about a month, I hope that when we're doing the best of October, we are
Yeah.
talking about the majesty that is Episode 1 of Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah.
So,
I'm hoping so too. I'm really hoping so too. So we'll
without
see.
further ado, speaking of things that are coming to a streaming platform near you, one of
Hmm.
your favorite franchises, Res Evil.
Resident Evil. Yeah, I know I know that Capcom and Netflix have been working on just some stuff. And for those who don't know, if you haven't watched Netflix, Castlevania, which is an animated series, is one of the best animated series and slash adaptations you could ever freaking see, dude.
And I loved
Absolutely
that
love it.
game.
Yeah, and so that was the kind of the stepping point for Castlevania to say, oh no, for Capcom to come in and say, oh, you know what, maybe we should do some more stuff. And so they just released so Capcom and Netflix have released another one called Dragon's Dogma, which I'm currently watching right now, and I actually like that's all full CGI. And they're coming out with another one, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. And this I'm guessing that this Resident Evil franchise that they're doing have been is in the same timeline as the other past Resident Evil, I guess, CGI movies they've released in the past. I've had a couple of those, and granted, it's not, you're not there for its weighty story. You're there for the zombies and classical heroes and the heroes that have been on there, and them releasing this huge series. It's gonna be a series. I'm gonna freaking watch it because one, it's featuring all my favorite characters: Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield. I'm hoping Jill Valentine and a bunch of other side characters are gonna be there. But overall, man, I'm like, hey, it's coming into Netflix. I'm hoping that more series then from this huge catalog of Capcom are going to be released. Maybe we'll see. I'm hoping we'll see Dino Crisis. I'm hoping we'll see, some form of uh, what's the other one? Some other form of I'm missing of God Hand and some other of these crazier like niche titles where, I would love to see a series for. But yeah, Capcom, Resident Evil, absolutely.
Now you mentioned there, Resident Evil. that
That would
this
make
possibly going to be existing in the same universe. Resident Evil. Sorry, did I say residential evil?
yeah,
Um, I'm
no,
trying to pull up the some information
yeah.
on IMDb about it. Now you were saying this is going to possibly exist in the same universe as the Jovovich.
No, 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 no. God, no. God, no. Hell, the hell, no. No, I'm talking about the other, like the other CGI animated series,
Oh, okay.
where it's not that horrid excuse of a movie franchise that Mila Jovovich happens. Okay, small rant,
Go right
small
ahead.
rant.
Because I've heard arguments on this particular franchise. I've heard it from both sides. I've heard people love this franchise, and those are
Mm-hmm,
coming from people who enjoyed the video game. So
mm-hmm.
here comes
Okay, so
JR soapbox.
okay, so here's a small rant. Just
Go
I'm
right
hoping
ahead,
it's a
sir.
small rant, right? So I forgot how long ago we talked about, like, what you can do to characters and how horribly, how horrible a story can be when you have these kind of, like, these one take characters, or these one-sided characters. And so Mila Jovovich's character is basically your Peggy Sue. She has the answers to every problem. She's the main protagonist, even though she's not necessarily a main protagonist within the actual continuity. She is every fan's dream of implementing themselves into a established franchise and basically kind of say, oh, everything revolves around me now. That's basically it. Because one, Mila Jovovich is a huge fan of the Capcom games. Her husband, whatever his name is, right, has been directing those movies for so long, and he's gonna add his wife as the main character,
Yeah.
and she is the literal representation of a Peggy Sue, right? And usually, if you want to make a series good, even with a Peggy Sue, you could try to implement certain things, right? But no, she's the mainstay. She is front and center of everything. Even though they have characters like Leon Kennedy in there, even though they have no. Leon Kennedy, Chris Redfield, they have all these classical characters. They either die or kind of done away with, right? The main reasons why people of the franchise would go see it, they're not really there. And that irritated me, right? And just check out, if you see every one of Mila Jovovich's, well, I forgot her character's name anyway.
Alice.
Alice, right? Whatever. Right? She is the answer to every one of Resident Evil's problems in the movie franchise, right? And
Which is so funny because like I look up the IMDb from the 2000, pardon me, from the
mm-hmm,
2002 movie, the first one,
mm-hmm,
and I'm sitting there going like, okay, did I click the wrong link? And I'm like, no, there it is, right there. She's buried. Now the way IMDb works sometimes is sometimes it can be fan edited, sometimes it can be people within the industry edited, but for the most part, it's people within the industry or
mm-hmm.
close to it edited, and it's pretty close to the call sheet as to who is top billing in the movie. And Mila Jovovich on the first movie is buried. She's not even in the top 10, which
Yeah.
would mean, you know,
Usually, right? To me, I think the best Resident Evil movie, right, that was out was probably the first one, because it was very similar. It was a different take of a Resident Evil, which is cool, and then it was very grounded in a sense, right? As grounded as you can get with zombies and zombie
doesn't
dogs,
rely
and
heavily on CGI,
yeah,
use
it didn't.
practical effects.
Yeah, like it was very it was really well done, and I was excited for the future for it, right?
Yeah.
And then it just basically jumped over the shark at that
Yeah.
point. It jumped the shark. It nuked the shark. It jumped over the shark and nuked the shark
Nuke
within
the
midair, and then flew into a motorcycle, basically catching it and riding it up to some crazy ass sunset. I'm pretty sure that's a scene in the movie somewhere.
ah.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the scenes in one of the movies somewhere. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like because in the very first movie you had the likes of, like, uh I think Michelle Rodriguez was in it. Yeah, the very first
I
one.
want to
A
say she
bunch of other.
was.
Yeah, she was. She was really good in that movie. She was really good in the first one too. And it was, supposed to be some Black Ops team going down to some, this shady facility that's located underneath a bunker, or underneath a house. Which, oh yeah, cool. You see Resident Evil stuff. and then it was good, and then it just got crazy. That was it. And so
It does. I couldn't see her the on the first movie. Not to say that I didn't look too far. I figured,
yeah,
a name like Michelle Rodriguez would be pretty close. But like,
yeah.
nonetheless, I mean, there's you go through these movies and there's some big names, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I never got into it. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she enjoyed them for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. But to each his own. But nonetheless,
Yeah,
like JR said, coming in 2021, Netflix will
yeah.
get Resident Evil, a new animated series. And I gotta imagine it's going to be a little bit closer to the original canon of the story. So
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna every franchise is gonna go through those certain eras, and so
yeah,
the more recent eras of Resident Evil have got more action oriented, which overall I'm cool with. But then just the main thing for me is that I'm watching it because one, it has my favorite characters in it. It's gonna introduce a larger version of the actual world, and I'm just cool with that, you know. So as long as they don't have Claire, as long as they don't have Mila Jovovich in it, I'm okay.
maybe they just blow her up in like the first.
Dang. And no hate on Mila Jovovich at all. It's just her character
Yeah.
is that, and I'm dreading Monster Hunter, which is another Capcom film that she will be in. Uh, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
We hinted on a little bit about Spider-Man and its ongoing resurgence as a major Marvel platform. Obviously, we talked about Jamie Foxx being Electro once again. Obviously, I just saw this from yesterday that Tom Holland has pretty much had a muzzle put on him in regards to any information about Spider-Man 3. So good for him. He might actually get to
yep,
keep his job.
yep.
And I'm trying to find some pictures. I'm sure if I really like Googled it or something like that, I could find it. But JR
Oh yeah,
put on here as we get ever so closer to the beginning of the console wars that'll be upon
yeah.
us next month.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man has been completely remastered for the PlayStation 5. A gameplay and trailer was released this past week to show Spider-Man remastered for PS5 with their brand new game engine, which is absolutely looks phenomenal with Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
The upgraded graphical is 4K at 60 frames per second. The real crisp, clean, high definition textures on
Yep.
everything, including the newly redesigned face of one Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know how I feel about
what
that.
in
I,
the blue hell did they do to the PlayStation Peter Parker? Say that 5 times fast. But
I don't know, man. I mean,
I I
I'm still
liked
gonna play it. Yeah.
the video game incarnation
Yeah.
of Peter Parker in Sony in Marvel Spider-Man for the PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
that came out in 2018. Which, by the way, I will still say to this day is top 5 video games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Could easily sneak into top 3, but we could leave that for a debate for another time. But the story that I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, JR, the story that I read is that they did bring the same voice actor from the PlayStation 4 version, did a little touch up to some of the voice acting for the PlayStation 5 version,
Mm-hmm.
and their story is we wanted the on screen to
Yeah.
represent what the behind the scenes
Yeah.
actor looks like. He basically it's like the actor's voicing the character. Why not the actor portray the character on screen?
Yeah.
And so they said that they drew him more to that. But to me, it looks like Tom Holland.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot in video games nowadays where the voice actor, which at this point now with mocap going crazy and just having visual performances because Last of Us, thank you Last of Us, all that has been so prominent nowadays in video games where you have your voice actors play their scenes, and usually the voice actor for Spider-Man for Peter Parker is a long established voice actor named Yuri Lowenthal, and I know how Yuri looks like, right? That is not how Yuri looks like in
No, I'm
Spider-Man.
I'm I'm pulling up Yuri's picture right now.
Yeah,
And
it
by
is
the
not.
way,
Yeah,
he is really, I mean,
yeah,
pretty damn good at the vocal um, uh, the vocal presentation
Range. Yeah.
of a Peter Parker and a Spider Man. Like he still has that young kid in the. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
here
But yeah,
is
for those who don't know who Yuri is, his background, he one of his major, I guess, roles per se. He does a lot of anime, and so one of his later, one of his major roles was actually he played Sasuke from Naruto, and so is that this long standing role for Yuri Lowenthal is that he plays younger characters, younger, usually edgier, edgier or yeah, edgier
yeah.
male,
So
young male
there's
characters.
Yuri.
Yep.
There's Yuri. So I'm gonna find a picture here in a second.
You know, find a picture of Tom Holland Spider Man.
I'm gonna find the side by sides that people were PS5 Spider Man. Um,
Yeah. Uh, uh, Before you do that, let me actually talk about the game per
Go ahead,
se.
and I'll find it and then we'll bring
Yeah.
it up. Go ahead.
The so because of the graphical upgrades, of course, going from PS4 to PS5, it's been pretty easy to do a lot more stuff. You're not gonna only just do a lot more stuff with it. Get more, NPCs on screen, better graphical fidelity, better draw distance, and just able to see farther per se. Um, a lot of it a lot of the textures have not I guess been revamped per se, but they're much more clean. And so you'll see that you won't see huge distinction between PS4 and PS5. What you will feel though is a better like graphical presentation in the sense of like it's not as the screen tearing isn't there before, or performance wise is so much better. You play this game at 4K 60 frames per second, and it runs better. It basically just runs better. And that's cool. I'm fine with that, man. You're when I'm rolling through the city, it dips. I can see the dip from 30 frames per second into like 24 to 20 because of how chaotic Spider-Man game can be, and just to replay that again, but on PS5 and on the higher settings and all that stuff, man. I'm here for it, dude. It'll be fun anyway, regardless. But yeah,
Okay.
other than that, just the other than the Peter Parker redesign, man, which it'll get some time for me to get used to, man. But like, I mean, if I know how I wanted to see how Tom Holland's gonna look in about when he's about almost 30, then cool. But that was an interesting take. That was
It
an
it
interesting.
was, and I just can't find it. I think I got it. I just don't. Yeah. Okay. Making sure there was nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna bring up the screen share here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw. Here is once again. Or do you go on Zoom? There you go.
Yuri.
Once again, here is Yuri Lowenthal. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this is the voice actor for Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, and
Uh-huh.
probably I gotta imagine is going to make a appearance in the Miles Morales expansion. One
Oh
can
yeah.
guess. Okay, this is the PlayStation 4 version of Peter Parker. If you've played the game, you know this character. Okay, he still looks young. Probably looks like he could be between 19 and 23. I mean, he looks like a
Yeah.
college age kid.
Yep.
Um, Still wisecracking, has the boyish charm, but really resembles. I mean, if anybody, he kind of resembles Andrew Garfield, but no one's ever
Mm-hmm.
vocally said that. He
Yeah.
has come into his own. He looks like his own Peter Parker. Okay, now this is again. Let's refresh. This is Yuri Lowenthal, the voice actor, and the
Oh.
developers. What's up? Do we lose it?
No, I thought you were kind of lagging in and out, but yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good now.
So again, this is the voice actor who the developer said they remastered the picture to look like, and here it is right here, right there. That is supposed to be Yuri Lowenthal. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it looks like Tom Holland.
Yeah, it does. I tried my a comparison shot of a PS4 and PS5 Spider-Man.
I was trying to find that, and there was. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
There you go. That's the one I saw. Yeah.
Which it still is not a. It's not both pictures. I mean, I know these are gameplay snippets. They're not good gameplay snippets.
Yeah.
But again, yes, I have read one or two other people that are close to me that played the game that said, okay, well, at least he doesn't look like Andrew Garfield anymore. I'm like, I maybe, but I don't. I still don't completely see
Yeah,
it. That
yeah,
to me looks like Tom Holland.
yeah.
So
That's easily Tom Holland right there, and I,
it,
it's just a small graphical thing. It's just and regardless of that, it's not going to take you out of the experience of playing Spider-Man anyway. I understand people like I understand the way the arguments people have right now is like it's the same argument. Like if I'm pretty sure you didn't hear about this, but before Spider-Man was ever released to the public, right?
yeah, yeah,
There was this thing called Puddlegate with Spider-Man, where like the initial trailer and gameplay we saw, right? There's a lot of puddles on the ground, and when the video game came, and when the review copies came out, there was no puddles on the ground, and some people are saying that, oh, that's a downgrade of the graphical settings, it's fake, man. There's no puddles on the ground. I'm like, it's like that's bottom of the barrel, dude. Like what? And then you had Insomniac, who
Insomnia.
are the
That's what I was thinking
developers
of.
of this game. Like yeah, we have puddles. We just don't have them everywhere, and we could have puddles whenever you want. And so they trolled people by having. I'm pretty sure you've seen it, where if you play photo mode, right, you have puddles on the ground everywhere, and so that's their way. Insomnia just showing people like, oh, here's all your puddles, bro. And so yeah, I'm like,
Gotta love people. Gotta
it's just a
love
small little thing.
people who troll themselves
Yeah.
to troll the trolls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, it's a small thing. They could work on. When I saw that first picture, right, I'm like, oh, okay, they got to work on a little bit more graphical fidelity because, the picture that's the PS5, even though it has a lot better like lighting, there's a lot of like details that are lost, right?
Yeah.
Wrinkles, skin flare here or there. But then yeah, if it is Tom Holland, you're supposed to make him look perfect. So take that in consideration.
Oh, Tom Holland, Tom Holland, Tom Holland. Speaking of Spider-Man, and speaking of the young Tom Holland,
Mm-hmm.
who is now expected to be one of the leaders of the youth movement in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He has one of his new possible colleagues
Mm-hmm.
casted for a very highly anticipated series for the Disney Plus platform, and that is we have our Miss Marvel. We have our Kamala Khan, who, of
Yep.
course, has been the forefront of the Avengers game on PlayStation and Xbox. She is arguably the main character for more than half of the game. Um, and really her first big multimedia. I take that back. Second, but the first one being what was that? Rising on Marvel Rising on
Oh yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus or on Disney Channel with Spider Gwen
Yeah.
and whatnot. So, but nonetheless, Kamala Khan will make her on-screen debut, um, along with the actress portraying Kamala Khan will make her first on-screen debut, and that is Iman Vellani. Did I say that
I, I
correct?
I'm pretty sure that's correct. I don't want. I mean, yeah, we want to butcher names every now and then. So
And again, if you're watching the YouTube version of the show, find a picture for you. If not, I highly recommend our all of our faithful listeners
hmm
um, jump over to our YouTube version
hmm
and check out the pictures, or just Google it yourself. Um, but
But
it's a young
Google,
actress.
yeah.
She's
But
a
one of her,
teenager, correct?
she's she's should be about 18, 19 years old. Yeah, and that's one probably the main reason why they were gonna cast young anyway per se. It's just that like what Marvel's doing now is kind of they're literally getting people who have for the younger characters, they've been getting young people because I'm guessing this is gonna be a long period of time, right? Maybe
Yeah.
possibly the next 5, 6, 7 years of her life, or she's gonna play Kamala Khan.
So there is the picture we have on our YouTube version is
Yeah,
Iman,
yeah.
who
She,
to
but,
me, she does fit the part.
mhm,
She is actually from Canada,
mhm,
which does have a very heavy Muslim population,
yep,
um, especially in and around the Ontario province,
yeah.
which is where she's from. She is a full-blooded, though, other than
Pakistani.
being from Canada.
Yep.
She is full-blooded Pakistani. She is a practicing Muslim. She fits the part.
Yeah.
So
And
perfect.
yeah, here's hoping like Here's hoping she does not just one Fist Apart, but also really really portrays Kamala Khan. Here, Kamala Khan, how she's been written the last couple of years, has always been that young, very faithful, very upstanding, girl that a lot of people, a lot of young kids gravitate towards. And I just want to, for me personally, I'm hoping that the voice I hear in my head will portray onto screen. That type of
Yeah,
thing where like how I imagine or how I envision who Kamala Khan is. I'm hoping that it will be somewhat similar to that. At the same time, I didn't expect Captain America to sound like Chris Evans, but here we are.
you know, I didn't either because a lot of a lot of what I had seen up into that point was what's the word I'm looking for?
For Chris Evans.
Was the for Captain America was seeing the cartoon version, the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and it was a
Uh-huh.
lot of Avengers assemble. Like
Yeah.
it was very
Monotone. Yeah.
monotone. It was very militaristic.
Yeah.
You know, I can do this all day.
Hmm.
But Chris Evans is like, I could do this all day. Like
Yeah.
there was a little bit of Johnny Storm. There's a little bit of that, like when he was playing Johnny Storm, that kind of young, kind of
Hmm.
like go get him kind of kid. But he also had that. This is my dad's Avenger right here. This is my grandpa's Avenger. Captain America.
Yeah.
Whereas as the cool kids, they all want to be Tony Stark. They want to have the new gadgets and stuff like that. And
Mm.
easily portrayed by Robert Downey Jr.
RDJ. Yeah.
because Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Everything to his, um, I mean, he has the goatee now. I think he rocks almost 24/7 like Tony
Hmm.
does.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Which
Someone asked me the
crazy.
other day what came first, the chicken or the egg, in this argument. I was like, what came first, RDJ or Tony Stark? And I'm like, in what
Actually,
aspect?
actually, I will say RDJ did come first because if I remember correctly, around that same time frame, Tony Stark in the comics was very much recluse to himself, and he wasn't. And then when the second we had RDJ and him becoming, this philanthropic playboy that we all billionaire that we all love and a billionaire that we all love and hold dear. The comic took precedent. The comic took that and just ran with it. And so now,
Yeah,
from that point, you had the Tony Stark that we all know and love because hey, he's basically RDJ and Tony Stark. You can't separate that anymore. In
no.
the last 10 years, you can't separate that anymore, or last 11 years now. So
Which is really funny because when I was playing so slight spoiler alert. So 3, 2, 1, playing the Marvel's Avengers video game for the PlayStation. Um, at some point in the game, you do find Tony Stark. You find Iron Man. And so he becomes a playable character again, and you see him a lot without
mhm,
the Iron Man suit on. So you see
mhm,
a lot of his face. He is not Robert Downey Jr. And I
mhm,
remember it freaked my son out to the point he's like, "Dad, that's not Iron Man." And I'm like, "No,
uh-huh,
that's Iron Man." He goes, "But Daddy, he looks really young because in the video game he looks like he's in his early 30s."
yep,
Whereas Robert
RDJ,
Downey Jr., when he started in 2008's Iron Man, at that point, in that point of Tony Stark's existence, he'd probably supposed to be in his late, I guess he's supposed to be in the late 30s, early 40s, the character that is.
hmm
But just based on him being 18, like if you follow the comic book or the movie timeline, he's supposed to be about 18 when his parents die, and that was
yeah,
19. What did we say?
19 something, yeah,
September something 1993, whatever it is.
yeah,
But nonetheless, it's a whole rabbit we could chase. But I'm excited for her, and I'm with you, Jr. Is I've seen Kamala Khan on the small screen in Marvel Rising, and she's casted well. Good voice for the animation. I've seen her now in the video game where she plays a very young girl. She is a 13, 14-year old, maybe even younger in the very beginning of the game. And then a few years pass and she's a bit older, but I have this voice in my head now that Kamala play that's Kamala. I'm sure if I googled a Google search on this young lady that we could probably
Mhm.
find some video of her speaking, but
Yeah,
I kind of want to be like
yeah.
the
I mean, actually,
surprise.
yeah. Is there is their first portrayal ever? Like their first like foray into like full on movie
Yeah, she's never
movie
been on screen
slash
before.
never, and so that's kind of interesting. I want to see how I definitely want to see the process of like choosing. Oh, she is definitely going to be Kamala. Like I can't wait to see the sneak peeks and or the behind the scenes type of segments because
Yeah,
like
that would be kind of cool to see
yeah
some
that would
behind.
be I definitely want to know their understanding of why this character if this person's gonna fit this character. Granted, they've had great they've casted great anyway before, right? Other than a few hit and misses here and there, like RDJ, yes, Chris Evans, yes, you know
Chris
uh,
Hemsworth, yes.
Chris Summers,
I mean,
Scarlett Johansson. I'm like, okay,
it
maybe,
took
but
some getting used to, but she owned the role.
yeah, she absolutely. But I also believe that I think it was a missed opportunity because like she should have been someone I guess in essence more I guess powerful per se. In my speak, I was thinking maybe shoot, dude, I wouldn't mind her if she was either I would love her to see her as Rogue, but then granted that's
Ooh,
during a time where they didn't have X-Men.
have
Either that's what I'm saying. See, I wouldn't mind seeing her as like our full on super powered Rogue where it isn't the just the young
but
semi.
could Rogue? Because I mean,
Hmm?
in the and that's where it gets tough because we see Anna Paquin play Rogue
Yeah,
in the X Men universe,
yeah,
and she did a good job.
she did.
Um, though having grown up on the animated series,
Hmm.
the I hated X1 at first for multiple reasons. Number one, I did not like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Wolverine was too
Yeah.
tall. He was too. Go with me on this one. He was actually too skinny.
Hmm.
I mean, Wolverine
Yeah, it's
is
stocky.
jacked.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was
he
stocky.
is like. For those who haven't seen JR, you're what? 6 foot, 6'1"?
Older.
Huh?
Oh yeah. 6 foot. Yeah.
6 foot. You're pretty stocky, dude. Let's
Yeah.
put it this way: Jr. height wise too tall, stockiness still too small. I mean, Wolvie's supposed to be, I mean, just short and just
Yeah.
stacked.
Rolfie's supposed to be 5'4", 380 some pounds, I think, or more than that, because like the adamantium in his body is like I think a lot of weight. Like before they actually shed some of the stuff off, like half a ton or something like that, dude.
Yeah,
Some crazy
he's
number.
he's just supposed to be just a brick.
Yeah.
Didn't like Hugh Jackman at first, and then I didn't like the
Mhm.
dynamic of Wolverine and Rogue in like the father daughter kind of where there's like a little maybe a little twinge of flirting, but it's more of a
Yeah. I'll say.
it is more
Yeah.
of a father figure because in the
Yeah.
cartoons that was very much Wolverine and Jubilee.
Hmm.
Now I knew that they didn't want to do Jubilee in the live action movies and so like I mean she appeared but was not a main character. But I like Anna Paquin as Rogue, but and there she had a
Yeah.
little twinge to a southern accent. In the
Yeah.
comic book, though, you don't hear obviously in the comic book. Do they ever talk about in the X Men books what Rogue's personal background is, what her ethnicity is? Is she Southern like she is in the
I think
cartoon?
so. I think so. It's that it's been so long now. Um I think the you have this life imitating life or art imitating art type of
Yeah,
deal
yeah,
where because the X-Men's run came in the 90s and that's where we saw those the fun X-Men around with their with a lot of the more zanier stuff to them. I think they just ran with like, okay, let's just have Rogue be from the South because she gonna ultimately fall in love with Remy. So let's just have them both be,
yeah.
Remy
Maybe that's what it is.
frail. So let's just have them both. That might be it. I can't necessarily remember where in the timeline of the '90s X-Men comics where we see Rogue being that, but overall, man, like that's what she's known as now. That's what she's seen as now. So I'm cool with it.
So, but that was my Um, yeah, I could kind of see Scarlet. You know, even just like it's funny. Like I googled
Mm.
Rogue, and the first image that came up was a J. Scott Campbell, and I'll bring it up here in a second. And
Mm. Yeah, I
I
think I
look
know
at
what you're
that,
talking about.
and I look at that picture, and I go, yeah, I could see Scarlet playing this.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. That's like, yeah, definitely Scarlet for her, or maybe even what's
Mila
another big
Jovovich.
hitter?
I can't even look at the screen right now because I know Jr. is probably just giving me like this death stare.
I
I
mean,
said,
if you wanted, if you wanted, oh, if Scarlet, if Black Widow was played by Mila Jovovich, then that would probably be her last movie. Iron Man 2 probably been her last movie.
hey, real quick before we, by the way, Miss Marvel is supposed to begin production by the end of the year. The plan that I'm hearing from people within Disney is this: we get Mandalorian season 2 on October 30th of this month, folks.
Yep.
We are 4 weeks away, less than 4 weeks away, I would imagine, from the Mandalorian hitting the small screen on a Friday night right before Halloween weekend. That's right, 2020 almost was going to deliver us the perfect Halloween and then jerked it away because California doesn't want to do Halloween anymore. But nonetheless, we won't go down that road. We get Mandalorian on Friday, October 30th. Supposedly, this is what's going to happen at the end of Mandalorian, which will be an 8 episode season 2. WandaVision will kick right in. WandaVision will run for about 8 to 10 episodes. I don't know what the exact run count is. I think it's going to be 8. I think that's kind of the Disney Plus formula.
Hmm.
When that is over, they should, knock on wood, should have Falcon and the Winter Soldier done, and then hopefully Loki, and then hopefully Hawkeye, and then so on and so forth. What if next summer? Obviously, Black Widow sometime in May. The Eternals, I believe, is in July, and then
I don't recall.
I believe we're supposed to get 3 movies next year: Eternals, Black Widow,
Yeah.
and Shang Chi. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
Disney Plus is supposed to be rocking and rolling. We are supposed to go bam, 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 get all of the shows uh, at some point in 2020 and into 2022. The only main shows they have not finalized the titular character is Moon Knight. And I think the reason they haven't done that yet is because they have to figure out, do they actually want Keanu Reeves to play Mark Spector? I say yes. But they keep saying
Hmm.
that they may want, actually, the reason they haven't locked Keanu Reeves in to play Mark Spector, they don't know if they want him. They know they want Keanu Reeves. They don't
Yeah.
know if they want him for Ghost Rider. They
Yeah.
don't know
Oh
yet
yeah.
if they want him for the main Ghost Rider. I did hear Spirit speak of
That'd be interesting.
we'll get on the Spirit of Vengeance another time when we get to the main topic because JR's got less than an hour till tip off. Um,
Basically.
is they are still committed to bringing Robbie Reyes, the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they are very much interested in bringing the actor back who portrayed him
He's cool.
in.
Yeah.
He's perfect from
Yeah.
Agents of Shield. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we got tons of stuff to talk about when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe over the next few months. We'll get to it as it comes out. But right now, JR picked the topic last week, and that is the best of September 2020. JR, there has to be something good we can talk about 2020.
Yeah, man.
Uh, really and truly, I mean, this was, I think, JR, one of the first months that both
Hmm.
Marvel, DC, and the Independence books, from a distribution standpoint, were on full spin.
Yeah.
Maybe some hiccups on delivery,
Lunar.
but Lunar got the DC books out. Diamond
Yeah.
got Independence and Marvel books out. This is the first full month, I think, of everything kind of running on
Yeah.
normalcy. Um, what was like just what did you like about what book from an overall standpoint jumped out as the best one from September of 2020?
Oh, for me particularly,
Yeah, I'm going right after, bro.
Okay. And just for purpose, I forget I put this in notes and everything. Like, just more so, not just we can go from if you're going, I guess the best favorite comic you had of September. It's not more. I think I wanted to go with the precipice of like. I want to go to
You go
the
where you
angle of
want to
like,
go, bro.
yeah. So I guess for me, it's a new series actually that came out in September, and I'm trying to find it right now. Oh, here you go. I got a copy right here. It's actually going to be. Let me just take out my.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm gonna have to go. We're gonna have to bring down the peek behind the curtain, folks. Here, we're got a little Wizard of Oz action going.
I wonder if I could do a blur. Maybe that'd be better. Nah,
Um,
it's fine. So for me, actually, a new series that came out, a new series that came out in September. Actually, it debuted in September 2nd. So the next issue will be out next week. I'm hoping. Yeah, this is the variant copy of "We Can Only Find Them When They're Dead" from Boom Studios.
Booms is killing it.
Yeah, man. So it's it's direct. It's written by Al Ewing, and the art, of course, is done by Simone DeMio. And for those who don't know who Al Ewing is, shame on you. He
But
is
who
the
was
teacher.
it? He's
He is
Marvel.
the he's Marvel right now. He's the guy who's been basically he revamped Hulk. He's the guy that's been
Yeah.
writing Immortal Hulk, dude, and he revamped it, and it's just killing it so far. But yeah, I read the first issue a while back. I reread it again the last couple of days, and it's I've been on a weird sci-fi trip lately, right? I've been watching more of the Expanse, which is on Amazon, and so that really just scratched that itch. This one, and it's an awesome story, man. Like you have these supposed dead gods that roam the universe, and after humanity has done all its resources, right, has basically eaten all its resources. They basically they go outside of our galaxy to see these dead gods is there, and they harvest them. So I'm
Oof.
like, cool. We harvest dead gods, these huge dead gods, and it's crazy because the people who harvest them, they're part of that those these mining companies where you have to claim it, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like old school, the 49ers of yore, were in California, where you had to go gold digging. So I'm like, cool. That's an interesting story. I'm definitely definitely one of my favorite comics, one of my favorite comic storylines of September. How about you,
Now,
my friend?
now I will throw myself on the proverbial bus. Is
Okay.
um, I am so far behind on comics in general.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually still. I was funny. Was like I
Same here.
was reading. I've been trying to catch up with some of my old champions books because I know that they're coming up
Yeah.
on like well, I actually think it's already come out on a re-release. So I'm still technically I was still reading some books the other day from 2018. I'm so far
Mm.
behind. But I would have to say
Yep.
that just based on anticipation,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to read a little bit of it, and I'm really liking it so far. And I think it has to be not only my favorite book of September, but I think the culmination or the continuation is the word I'm looking for
Mm-hmm.
of a good storyline for the rest of 2020 and maybe even in 2021 if they can keep the creators around. And that is Spider-Man #4 from J.J.
Mm.
Abrams and Henry Abrams. Really cool because we don't know where exactly it fits in the main continuity if it does at all.
Yeah.
And it's just JJ saying, Marvel, let me tell a story. And you be the judge. You put it out if you want to, but you hired me to do a job. I want to write for Spider-Man. I'm going to write for Spider-Man. I wrote the story.
Yeah.
What do you think? Boom, here it is. Um, the other one that I liked because I really enjoyed where Marvel was going in putting T'Challa in charge of the Avengers. And again, I'm a little bit behind on my Avengers reading, but Avengers #36, which just came out about a week or so ago, this, of course, is a tribute book to Chadwick Boseman. But here you have, speaking of the aforementioned Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight,
Mm.
fighting T'Challa, King T'Challa, and the leader of the Avengers, Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just from where I'm at in the book, and of course I'm probably and this it's a monthly, so I'm a
Yeah.
few more than a few issues behind. It's telling a really good story because the Avengers are really having to start fresh over the last 2 or 3 years, coming off the heels of Pleasantville or Pleasanton or whatever it is, and then of course I
Yeah.
think where they had they moved
Yeah, the all the villains at
all
them.
the villains
Yeah.
too, and then of course you had Secret Empire and yada yada yada. But no, I really enjoy those two books. The Avenger title does a really good job at kind of an homage to the old books because the Avengers back in the day, I don't believe was a monthly title. I think it was like about every couple of months,
Yeah.
and it allowed the other characters to breathe a little bit. Let Iron Man go back and be Iron Man. Let Thor go back to Asgard and be Thor, or be on Earth
That's right.
as
Yeah.
Robert Blake. Allow Ant Man. Allow the Wasp. Allow those characters to go back. But again, these were back when even those titles were not monthly, maybe a couple months with Tales to Astonish and stuff like that. But
Mm.
this is very much an homage because they are allowing books, especially with the kind of a short, quick call out that the new Iron Man book coming out. You're allowing these characters to kind of, but actually, I take that back. Iron Man doesn't even exist in the Avengers right now. But nonetheless, I really enjoy those two books. Um, I think this is easily one of your favorite topics. What was the best cover of September?
Mm. Yeah, that was a tough one for me,
Because
per se, because
I can think of two that jump out at me.
I mean, like, there was that monstrous, I think it was Monstrous 19 or so that I saw that was a Son Takeda book, and I love that one. I gotta find that one again. There was, of course, a bunch of stuff from uh
Detective.
forgot her name, man.
Oh,
Not Detective. Oh yeah, Detective Comics too as well though. Actually, that was a great one. But also the she's smoking hot right now, dude, in the market because of her art. It's
one. I know.
Peach
I,
Momoko,
I
right?
know you're gonna say it.
Two Peach Momoko covers that I have. I know I'm probably gonna go there too still, but for specifically for September though, I have it's gonna either be a Peach Momoko book or that Jennifer Zone, the Jennifer Zone, um, the Jennifer Zone. We only see when they're dead. Antenna variant, which I have as well. I just can't find it. But that so I'm gonna bust out Peach Momoko. Two covers from her. First one is of course a Zombies Resurrection from Marvel, right? The one for 100, featuring of course X-23, which I'm pretty sure I showed this off last week or a couple weeks before, and then as well as the DC
Mm.
Speed Metal, Death Metal, Speed Metal, and it's featuring the Flash Boys, I like to call them. And for me, I think those two in congruence
Of
with
course, it's gonna.
we only find them when they're dead. Jennifer's Own cover.
Of course, it's gonna be in the last
And
book.
my runner up, of course, is and my runner up is Ice Cream Man 20.
Dr. Seuss
The
spoof.
yeah, the Doctor's. I don't. This is the first print. Yeah. So the very first one, dude. I
Um,
enjoyed that one.
it should be noted that um, a very highly anticipated book that was supposed to come out by the end of this year
Berserker.
is being pushed to February of next year, and that's Berserker, where it
Yeah.
features Keanu Reeves. Actually, I think it's produced by Keanu Reeves, is it not?
It's. I think so too. I know
Literally,
that
literally the last book.
I wanted to add this on today's podcast, man. But you know, I can go on for what's happening right now specifically because there is backlash within the comic writers and comic artists community right now that's going on because one it's featured by Dynamite. It's Dynamite, right? No, not
Yeah, I
Dynamite.
think so. I think it was.
It's Dynamite. I think that's producing it. It's either Dynamite or Boom Studios producing it, and they took it off because they're switching artists, right?
Oh, okay.
And so it's taking about it's gonna take a while for the artist to basically get into it. Don't know why. I originally I was okay with I was definitely cool with the original artist, right? And then I'm guessing it got so bad, quote unquote, to the point where put it now like, oh, we're gonna put it out on on Patreon, and it of course is Keanu Reeves, and I think the original goal was like 50,000 or something like that. It's like over 1 million now, or some crazy number. And then you have a lot of people in the communities like just like, what the hell, man? Like, you can't, like, you have people that were in that company that work their butts off, tails off to do 22 pages of comics, right? And I'm gonna get paid for like, $1,200 for it, or some small amount. Where honestly, that's super super low in comparison to the standards of what artists should get paid within the comic book community, specifically Dynamite, if it is Dynamite. And so
Yeah, that's gonna bug
yeah,
me. What
it's
it was
kind of
called.
it. Yeah, it bugged me, but at the same time, like, yo, it's freaking Keanu Reeves, man. People are gonna support that. It sucks because one, if I'm pretty sure. Let me just check real quick. I'm pretty sure it is Dynamite, but see.
I think it is too. But let's just the text message that I got was for those of you who are listening or watching that are regular pool members at Comic Asylum. If you haven't already got the text message from Chick or anybody at the asylum, I got this one. It says, "We just want to let you know that Berserker has been postponed to February 17th, 2021. We'll keep you updated on new information." Now, um, it was a book that was on Q's Double Up. As a matter of fact, as of this past
Mhm.
Wednesday, there were people that were still wanting to add the book to their pull list to make sure that they had copies of the first run, because I think this book was a couple of weeks from being
Mhm.
released. If not, I think it may have been this week that the book was going to come out. So that's something we'll definitely keep you posted on. It's unfortunate. I think it was
Yeah,
a unique opportunity for someone that obviously has fully embraced his pop culture um, um,
yeah,
iconicness in the form
yeah,
of Keanu Reeves. I mean, he truly is in the
yeah.
last 10 years reached. I mean,
About
his body of work expands that obviously with Bill and Ted, with The Matrix, with
yeah.
Point Break. With I mean, shoot, they make a Point Break reference in the
Point Break.
Avengers. Um, Actually,
Yeah,
they still call
the, the,
Chris Hemsworth Point Break in
yeah,
Thor
yeah.
Ragnarok. So it's obviously a callback to the old
Yep.
movie, which he's being compared to Patrick Swayze. Is there a worse thing in the world to be compared to? Obviously, other than the fact that he's not with
Yeah,
us anymore. But nonetheless, I mean, he really is
yeah. So
a
it's
figurehead in pop culture. So,
yeah,
do you
yes.
have the
He's
release?
always kind of been that way. Yeah,
Or
it's gonna be uh
I mean,
the
this
original
publisher.
the yeah the Kickstarter is actually started from Boom Studios, so it's Boom instead.
Okay, he's Boom.
And that's surprising to
Boom
me because
freaking killing it,
he's like,
dude.
Boom just went crazy. Yeah, and so that surprised me. Like, why would you start a Kickstarter? Excuse me. Specifically, know if you have like these hits like something's killing the children, and as well as now their highest one was
Faithless.
yeah, Faithless. Their highest one was We Only Find Them When They're Dead. And so, like, do you really need more money per se to get a 12 issue series out from freaking Keanu Reeves? And yes, Keanu Reeves is co-writing the book.
Yeah.
And so they started this Kickstarter, which I'm gonna check the Kickstarter right now, see what's set at. Yeah, it surpassed it a long time ago. It is now currently at, doesn't tell me how much, but just showing just stuff out. Huh. Oh wow, there's a bunch of stuff there that they're doing.
Well, while Jared finds that, I will carry over into my picks for best cover
Yeah,
of the week. I also going to go with a Momoko cover. Is that how you
mm.
say it, right?
Yeah, Peach Momoko. Yeah. Oh, they 1 million, almost 1.5 million. No, that is not Peach Momoko though.
Oh, this
Remember?
was not. Well, either way, I like this cover.
Yeah, yeah,
I really like this character. Of course, you've got Squirrel Girl, and of course Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. A member of the U.S. Avengers, West Coast Avengers, rather, from the
yeah,
around 2016, 2017. No, not Great Lakes Avengers. I apologize.
yeah.
And then, of course, the
Mm.
member. She actually was a member of the main Avengers squad and the Champion squad now. is Kamala Khan, and of course you look up here, it's joining the Android chat right here is Spider Gwen. Um,
Mhm.
so we got that. Love that cover. If you haven't seen the variant covers for Wonder Woman over the last 12 to 18 months, you have missed some of the
Mhm.
most beautiful artwork that artists have done.
Yeah.
Um, it's not it's not flying off the shelf like an Art Germ, a Middleton, a Campbell, a Scotty Young, a Adam Hughes, a Jim Lee, whatever. But the kind of eclecticness of just beauty that has been the Wonder Woman variants. And this was one, I believe that this wasn't last week, it was the week before, it was the previous one. This is Wonder Woman number 763.
Mm.
Absolutely stunning picture cover. And I really have enjoyed the artwork. I don't have the one from earlier this month, but I do have the one that was one of the last books. This is Wonder Woman 761. Now, Wonder Woman, I think, is a bi-monthly, or sorry, it's a
I
yeah
think
bi-month,
so.
twice a month issue, I believe.
Yeah.
So this was the
Yeah.
last run of August, just to show you an example of the work that they are doing on Wonder Woman, and they have just been killing it for a while now. Honorable mention before I get to I think my number one pick for the month was also the Wonder Woman 84 spinoff tie-in book. It does have a very Gal Gadot inspired Wonder Woman, and there it is, and
Mm.
just I think still a beautifully well done Wonder Woman cover. And I think one of the many things I love about Wonder Woman is that you can have this big, powerful, almost borderline masculine looking woman who also can still be smooth and feminine and be and dare I use the word sexy character. And
Mm.
I think it really goes to show you that Wonder Woman, like there's some covers that they've done with the character, and she's just whooping the crap out of somebody. She's just going to town. But then you have something like this, where it's it's a beautiful sunset. She just wants to have the love of her life with her to stare off into the sunset. And then she has this kind of in between where it's like nice and soft, but it's also like, come here, I dare you to cross me. I'll kick your ass. But
A
hands down
quick
the
comment.
best.
It's funny that
What's
you
that?
say.
What's that?
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go.
Real quick.
No, go.
Best cover of the month, in my opinion, uh, is the Gabriel Delato Detective 1027.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
just Batman,
Yeah.
Scarecrow,
Yeah.
Batman just whooping that
Yeah.
ass. And
Yep.
it's just simple. It's not reinventing the wheel, as I like to say. It's just, I'm going to choke the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, what you were going to say.
No, it's funny that you said like, oh, these books only got fly shelves like Josh Milton. I'm like, but you have Josh Milton in your hand though. those Wonder Woman books are Josh Milton.
You're right. I believe this was a. No, I don't think that other one was a Middleton book, was
It
it?
was, dude. It's like Josh Milton's been doing the last like couple of cover for Wonder
This
Woman,
does.
dude.
This one is a Middleton. Okay.
That's Milton.
This doesn't look like a Middleton though.
That's the Middleton, homie.
Wow. But no,
Yeah.
Middleton. But the thing was, is that when you think of Middleton,
Mm-hmm. You think of like just solo, like yeah,
yeah,
yeah, dude.
and so okay, but that that's a good job on his part of
Mm-hmm.
expanding his repertoire as of an artist. Because I mean, let's face it. I mean, you look at which I think this is some of of Jason's best work. And this is this is the J.
Bring it
Scott
up.
Campbell, Detective 1027. But it's a lot of the same. So, no, you know what? I have no problem with having egg on my face on that one because I didn't know
No, it's fine.
because it's not
Yeah.
his typical work.
I was gonna say too. Yeah, the example was like, yeah, well, at least he's not, he's doing something something different than let's say, I don't know, freaking Campbell or or he who shall not be freaking named because he can't draw feet.
J. Scott Campbell.
You don't know
No, I
that.
know who you
No,
mean.
no, no,
The other guy.
the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the other one.
Fabian
Yeah, dude.
Nacis. Fabian's a former partner. Uh,
Ah, oh man.
so, plenty of headlines this past month.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say I like the last two. Speaking of drafts, the last two draft picks for
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, Jennifer Walters and Kamala Khan.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
kind of went off the reservation a little bit, went a little bit out of left field. Didn't pick an A-lister like they wanted to. I know that, like we mentioned, if not last episode, a couple episodes ago, that they wanted um, what's her name from Glow in
Oh yeah.
Community. But
Yeah. Aubrey Plaza. Yeah.
well, no, that's not what I was thinking of. No, the other one, not Aubrey
Oh
Plaza.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, though Aubrey Plaza would have been interesting as Jennifer Walters. I
Yeah.
think there's still something out there for her. Aubrey, that is. No, the actress I was thinking of from Glow, she was also in Community.
Alison Brie.
Allison
Alison Brie.
Brie.
Yeah.
I think there's also room for her somewhere in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think they've given up on her as well. But I think that the two big headlines, at least my favorite, was the drafting of um, of Kamala Khan and Jen Walters for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What you got there, Mister
Yeah.
Jr.?
Honestly, man, the best event for me, other than of course one DC 5G being finally canceled and confirmed because of the one
Thank
and
you, Jim Lee.
only freaking Jim Lee. Thank you. But that's a close second. But the number one for me probably the PS5 event.
It was a
I
good
mean,
one.
I'm first and foremost, yeah, first and foremost, like, I'm a video game nerd by heart. And so just having more information on like when the PlayStation 5 is gonna be releasing, the prices for it, the video games, good God, the video games are coming out for it. I cannot wait. I'm super excited. The only negative for me for the PS5 event is that pre-orders have been a big pain in the ass. And so do you see that? You
You
see
need to
that?
make sure you order the right device, the Xbox
Oh,
fans.
we can talk about that another day, but yeah, it's just hilarious to me that the Xbox threw shade like, oh, you'll know when we're gonna have our pre-orders the day it comes out. Oh, which one is it? Which Xbox Series X, S, and like that's okay. Let's go. Let's move on from that. But yeah, the PS5 just yeah, I'm just excited for the PS5 coming out, and inevitably, I might get either an Xbox or or finally build my PC and do all that stuff. But yeah, the PS5 event was a huge spotlight for me for September. Man, I'm happy for it. I'm happy that happened. I'm just can't wait for the pre-orders to finally officially drop properly and not kind of screw people over. GameStop GameStop and your crappy freaking buy all these bundles and all this stuff. But yeah, man. Favorite
um,
show?
favorite
How about
show that
yeah,
dropped in September. I am
or maybe favorite episode,
a little
and
off
or maybe
on my TV viewing
mhm.
because I was still trying to watch some of the old stuff that I was behind on. So I think we finished Agents of Shield technically in the month of August, which was really good. The series finale was very good of Agents of Shield. So I'm gonna because like I said, I'm a little behind on my viewing on stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I watched anything new in the month of September. I
September.
really haven't. My wife has been um, binge watching once again Schitt's Creek.
Mm, yeah.
I can't get into it. I just can't. I've tried. I find that I do really enjoy Eugene Levy, but I can't. Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of hers. I almost didn't even like her in Home Alone.
Mm,
But I just can't get into the show. But I have a lot of stuff on my Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and stuff that I need to binge watch. I've been really putting off watching stuff like Ozark,
Oh yeah.
um, stuff like The Man in the High Castle
Oh
on
yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, man. Great.
God, so much stuff.
Yeah.
But I would just say that, I mean, the stuff that I've watched in the last month and a half, I still say the the season finale, the series finale of Agents of Shield was one of my favorites. It kind of tied into the pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
And I am rewatching, by the way, I am
Mm.
rewatching the Story of Imagineering on Disney Plus. And for those of you who are Disney nerds, I highly recommend watching that. And it really tells you a story from the development of Disneyland in the 1950s to pretty much the launch of Galaxy's Edge and beyond, and really the story behind the creation of all these attractions. Not just it tells the story of Disney, but it also tells the story of Disney from the Imagineering perspective, the
Mm.
actual construction of these different things. And so it's really really interesting. And people go like, oh, when are we going to get some real stuff on Disney Plus? You can only sell nostalgia for so long, and we're tired of all these stupid documentaries. They're good. Some of them are good, and that's why you said earlier with stuff like WandaVision
Yeah.
and Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye and all stuff. They did a behind the scenes kind of
Vibe type of thing.
well, they did a kind of behind the scenes uh, um, show called Disney Gallery, I think it's called, and it is behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, and it was very very well done. I highly recommend watching that, especially when they do the roundtable of all the episode directors. Really really interesting. But I don't know. I haven't been watching a lot of TV. What about you? What's the best you've seen?
Uh, oh, there's a lot of stuff. Same thing. I've been catching up, trying to catch up on TV shows and movies. Right. Um. Hmm. The last, I guess, yeah. The I guess the movies the TV shows and stuff that I've watched recently. Right. Like The Boys season 2 came out
Oh, I
recently,
that's another one I
and
forgot.
yeah, I don't want to say anything too much because, well, uh, it's been widely known already that The Boys TV show differs pretty not dramatically, but like they differ quite a lot from the original comic, right? But the way they're going about it, right, is very more nuanced per se, and like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Within today's confines and all that stuff, right? And so I've been watching a lot of The Boys season 2, which is really freaking good, really freaking good. And Dragon's Dogma, of course, is new. That's the other Capcom Netflix TV show, animated 3D CGI TV show that's come out. But for me, the I guess from my favorite piece of a TV or show that's released in September, even that I've been watching in September, is actually, of course, you guys heard it before. I've been watching The Expanse, which is originally was supposed to be was a sci-fi original series. It was gonna be canceled per se after one season, and then it came back because how well they played, possibly going into the space is gonna be for us as a species per se, right?
Yeah.
And it's based off the books made by J.A. Corey, which is a pseudonym for these two writers, which I've sold before. I've sold that book before, and yeah, I love that show, man. It's definitely a great show for me. It very much it very much deals with, like, what's gonna happen when we inevitably are gonna go out into space. What's it gonna feel like when we go out into space? What are this physics and all that stuff going out into space, and all the possible war between Earth and Mars, advancing in military expertise, and how, the possibility of us finding alien life forms out of nowhere. And so overall, dude, like, I'm kicking myself in the butt for not watching this show earlier. I'm currently on season 3 right now. Season 3, episode 6, Immolation, I think it's called. So yeah,
Um,
that was my favorite show right now.
boys, I want to try. The problem is with two kids at home, it's tough to watch stuff that pushes the
Yeah,
envelope.
it's
With
super
yeah,
funny.
it's not safe for work, is what I understand. So the boys, I haven't even watched season one yet. I will watch it. It's on my queue. The problem is with me, I just have to be in the right mindset, and then plus the uh, the time that I have.
Yeah,
I
I get it.
so it's just I want. There's so much. I was joking with my wife a few months ago that it was right around actually it was right about March when all this Rona happened, and she
Hmm.
asked me if I still wanted to buy my own comic book store because I was thinking about opening up one here on the east side of the Coachella Valley to kind of help out because this is an area that does not have a comic book store. And I was going to. And people go like, "What would be your niche?" And I'd say probably more the collectibles. Chick has sideshow and CGC kind of hers. At the time, which by the way, shout out to Steven at Interstellar Comics. I
Oh
have his
yeah.
card, but I forgot it downstairs. But
Mm.
shout out to him. He's going to give us some, hopefully, give us some plugs on social media. And then, of course, at the time they had very much a kind of a niche in the card game under when it was not Adrian, it was yeah Adrian.
Oh, it was Adrian.
Yeah, he had more the Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, and stuff like that. And then if Sid is more of the bronze, silver, and some gold age books, but
Yeah.
I had wanted to do more collectibles on my store, and so um, my wife told me she's like, do you kind of like say, whoo, dodged a bullet there on owning a comic book store? And I said, no. And she's like, why not? She's like, because right now I still have to go to work. If I owned a comic book store, I'd still have to go to work and I could watch movies all day. I would get so much crap done in the form of getting TV shows and movies watched. So
Yeah.
I've always told Chick that if she ever needs me to babysit the store, I would. But when she came back, there will be a TV installed. So,
Oh yeah.
but the worst of the month for me, again, I'll throw myself under the proverbial bus. I've had so
Mhm.
much stuff going on. I really am not up to date on a lot of the current runs. But
Mhm.
from what I understand, with the exception of one, maybe two titles, that DC has really started to slip on the writing,
Mhm.
and so where guys like your boy, your man crush, the guy that's running killing with Venom right now,
Oh yeah. These
Donnie
Don Cates. Yeah.
Donnie Cates, who where he has absolutely resurrected that character, which was always a badass character.
Yeah.
But Venom never really got to me what Donnie Cates is doing with Venom from a kind of an anti-hero character
Yeah.
is what McFarlane did when he created Spawn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really give Donnie a lot of credit, but
Yeah.
DC, from what I understand, a few titles with the exception of your some of your the death metal and stuff like that, and the Batman Who Laughs
Mm.
kind of arc, it's really slipped.
Yeah.
I've heard some mixed reviews. What do you think about the Punchline storyline? Where's that going?
Yeah. I mean, like Tom King's latest, his more. So there's a love hate relationship with me and Tom King, where he's the current, writer for Batman, and his uh, overall, man, the totality of his run is actually really really good in comparison to the last couple of years per se, where with him in the first, I guess, 25-ish, 50-ish, yeah, about 25, 30-ish, 30-ish, uh, you know, first entries, right? You had the introduction of Gotham Girl, Gotham Boy, or Gotham whatever, the superhero sidekicks per se that was instilled in Gotham, right? Then you had Joker, the joke, the war jokes and riddles with pivotal characters out of nowhere. You see great writing, and then you had the wedding, and then you had this huge kind of like build up to the Bane becoming a huge integral part now, and then spoiler alert, uh, Bane kills off Alfred,
Wow.
but he kills him off in the yeah, Bane kills off Alfred, but he kills him in front of the wrong person. Right.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, he kills him in front of Damian rather than Batman, and he should have killed him off in front of Batman because the whole arc of what Bane was supposed to do was basically destroy Batman, you know, everything, right? Hit from everything from his financial standings to his emotional support. They found out who he was, everything. He even got back somehow Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father from but he was, I guess, the evil Batman from Flashpoint where he shoots people, you know?
Yeah,
If people remember that storyline, somehow that Thomas Wayne survived and came to Gotham, and just the precipice of what happened after Bane taking over Gotham City happened, and it's the writing is hit and miss, man. I'm hoping that Tom can really pull it around with Joker War and with everything. I mean, there were certain storylines that were there, and it was cool, and everything was trying to basically rebrand and having to just basically come back from all the rubble from what happened with the Bane. But yeah, there's a lot of hit and misses, man. A lot of hit and misses. A lot of a lot of things being taken out from the DC catalog over the next couple of months. Like we said before, a lot of there's gonna be a lot of titles being canceled, and it's even DC, even death metal right now, man, is looking kind of you know, like I've been reading it too. The main entries, even though it's being, you know, helmed again by a rock star team, it's kind of getting kind of eh.
it can
Other
only
than,
go
you know,
so
some,
far, man.
I don't know, it's the offbeat titles though. I do like Multiverse End. There's Death Metal Multiverse End, which released I think last week, and to me it was probably a really good spot. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it really well. It's just that every multiverse end, we have some weird off-speed story from Wonder Woman, which is supposed to be, you know, this huge integral part, which does not care for continuity at all either. And we have Superman, and we have all these dumbass freaking things, and we have Teen Titans or Titans ending, and you have a Superboy that's there, but then you have another Superboy and Jonathan Kent that's supposed to be there as well. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And I just want to just ask. I want them to ask freaking Bendis, man, and just try to restart over with Superman, because why are we having two Superboys back?
I think it's only a matter of time. We do know that um,
And they're
Bendis
getting
was
good.
Bendis was working on Superman. He was working on Action Comics, and
Don't f with the first family of DC. Don't
I
with
think
me,
that they
dude.
realized that their experiment went wrong. So I think Bendis is being pulled off of the
Everything
off. Well, here's the thing: is that he kind of created that side DC, that side chick
went
DC product.
nowhere.
What's that?
That went nowhere.
But no, well, they had oh my gosh, I can't think of the name off the top of my head now.
Yeah, it's the something
He's
verse world, yeah, but like it
but
just
there was two titles that he created that was a
yeah,
very much kind of Jessica Jones
yeah,
esque feel to it because he worked with Gatos again,
yeah. You're talking about
and
Scarlet and something else.
yeah,
Yes.
there was like I said there was a couple of books, and those have been, I believe one of them, and I have to find it, has been sold to Netflix
Mhm.
for I know it's on hold right now, but because they're depending on
Yeah,
whether they're going to do a live action or they're going to do animated or something like that. But let me see if I can find it.
yeah, but
But yeah,
it.
I think Bendis's days are numbered
I'm hoping so,
at
man.
DC. For those who are still a fan of his, I know. Okay, he worked on the book called Cover.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the Asian one, I think.
yeah, that book I believe is being that was a quick 6 issue run that ran up last year. I believe that he worked
Yeah.
on that one with David Mack, at least on the
Hmm.
covers. Like I said, I believe that one is getting a an adaptation. The one that I know of for a fact is getting an adaptation is Pearl,
Yeah.
and that is the one he worked on with Michael Gatos, who was, and he also did the cover art. Now, of course, Bendis and Gatos were the two creators of Jessica Jones. Pearl, I know for a fact, I believe that show is headed to Netflix. Again, that is the one I think for they don't know yet if they're going to do live action or if they're going to do kind of a um, anime kind of. I
Yeah,
don't know much
animation
of that
type
to cover, but
style.
yeah, you were talking about. There's another one, Scarlet, which was actually well, it's from Jinx World. is the
Yeah, I think so.
subsidiary
That's right.
of
Yeah.
DC Comics, along with Pearl and Cover. So
Yeah, that's all that's Bendis' thing. And so it's just like the Bendis experiment didn't really go anywhere because one, he just kind of just ruined continuity per se, and it ruined so much that like specifically with Superman, it ruined it so much that like they had to redo. They had to do a whole class and world redo midway through their entirety, their actual redo. Like it's when you like, come on, dude. When you have this huge you could do that with smaller characters, but you can't do that with Superman.
yeah. Oh, Man of Steel was the other property that he was working on,
That's
but I think that was a also a quick one-off
yeah,
with him. And then, like I said, the Superman run that he did, I think is what he's currently. Where Man of Steel was the
yeah,
six issue. That was a 6 issue miniseries. That's finished.
yeah.
But
That was before
Superman,
the actual Superman,
yeah,
and
Superman and Action Comics are the two titles he's left working on right now. Cover and Pearl were 6 issue one offs, and I'm sorry, Pearl was 12 issues. I apologize.
mhm.
And Scarlet, I don't know what happened to that. Did that get canceled or did that?
I don't. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention to actually care about that specific series, man. Like it's it because it has Bendis' name to it. Like I just kind of stayed away with it because
Yeah. I
yeah,
will say
that's the thing.
this
Like
from a writing standpoint. It sounds like both Marvel and DC and some of the independents are starting to think outside the box. And you
yeah,
talk about Al Ewing, kind of crossing enemy lines and moving with some independent books and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, is I think some celebrity or guest writers are going to start to come back. I have heard through the grapevine, guys like Kevin Smith, of course,
mm,
Clerks fame, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, and
yeah,
stuff like that. He has famously worked on, not from a writing standpoint because he doesn't want to step on shoes, but he has directed episodes of Supergirl, which, by the way, another big story that came out of September of this year, and I know we're up against the time. Supergirl is being canceled by
mm,
CW. It will come to an end at the end this season. Um,
wow,
and I know that Kevin Smith has lovingly worked on that show. He loves working on Flash, and I know that show probably has about another season or two left.
yeah,
And I have heard through the grapevine that he is wanting to go back and he wants to do Clerks 3. He wants to do the Mallrats movie, Mallrats 2, or the mini series, but that he also wants to go back to writing comics, and he has been asked to come back by both Marvel and by DC. Um, the other one is CM Punk, who has done some great writing with with both, I believe. But he
mhm,
wants to do more independent books. He
yeah,
sees the right, of course, CM Punk, a former professional wrestler and of course, UFC fighter.
mhm,
But both of them are heavily um, loved um, by both organizations and by the fans and
yeah,
stuff like that. Matter of fact, one of the last books, um, the one of the last books that I have that CM Punk did was during the Jason Aaron run of Thor back in 2015. And CM Punk did a couple of stories in a Thor annual. So if you want to check that out, it's Thor annual number 1, I believe, from 2015 during Jason Aaron's first run with the Goddess of Thunder. But great writer. Kevin Smith also did a great run back, as I like to call it, back in the David Mack Daredevil days.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens. But they need to stir it up. I mean, there's been some
yeah.
bad writing lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's how it goes. It feels like there's gonna be probably another reboot per se somewhere. I mean, that's what usually happens. That's how we saw the last reboot, where like it just got everything got kind of stagnant, and so they thought, oh, let's
Cut
just
down
swing it up
titles.
again. Granted, like well, they have been. That's the thing, but like it's just more so now from both sides, where Marvel doesn't want to cut down titles because they're trying to make that money. They're trying to
They
bank
want those.
off
They
like
want. They want the number one us to death. So
yeah, that's how it's always gonna be. They're gonna like they just released a number one for Shang-Chi.
yeah,
And
I
so
I,
like
I Didn't want to
Like,
get it.
the art is great. I mean, the
I
cover arts are
know.
great,
I
but like
know.
I see this probably. I don't see how long this is gonna last. Like I'm. It might last. Maybe it'll last a year. Maybe it'll last a year publication.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
it won't.
I mean, think
It's
about
like
it.
who's gonna buy it?
Who would? I mean, think about it. Shang-Chi, cool character. I think it's gonna be a
Yeah,
badass movie. Let
yeah,
the movie sell some
yeah,
comics for you.
yeah. It's just that like
Don't try to jam it down our throat.
the thing that irritates me at this point is like the demographic you have specifically if you have okay you have Shang-Chi, all right, cool, Asian character, Asian actor, but how many Asian comic book fans do you have that's gonna buy specifically an Asian, like that's, you have, the movie has to come out first or somewhere near
Thank you. Yes.
the actual date for it to even garner up some type of reputation, and to have it based out just perfect example. There was a couple years ago. There's still ongoing series called Swordmaster, very anime style. It sold horribly. We barely see it now. It's still kind of ongoing, but I'm pretty sure it's on its last ends. Like,
Prime example.
go ahead.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a terrible, terrible series from top to bottom for the longest time
Mm-hmm.
in the Marvel universe. Cool characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peter Quill was a cool character. Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, uh, um, Yondu, and some of the original Guardians were cool characters by themselves. When they came together, yeah, maybe it was a good book, but it's so terribly. The movie came out and resurrected the old books. It helped sell the old books. Guess what, Marvel? It'll help you sell Marvel
Yeah.
Unlimited if you do it that way. And then guess what happened? They created a new book. And
Yep.
guess what happened? It was a good book. They let it kind of Shang-Chi. When was the last time a Shang-Chi book was out? It's been
Years,
decades.
decades. Yeah. Look at also another example, Captain Marvel. After she's been republished for the eighth time or some crazy number like that, Captain Marvel one came out what, 2019? No, 2018, if I remember correctly. Some year of that, right? And that's like the third time they rebooted Captain Marvel, and so it came out with Life of Captain Marvel came out, and then
Oh
leading on to
God,
number one.
it was like
Yeah,
so
I know.
terrible.
I know. It's writing aside and just story like aside. It's so freaking hella well because one, it was in conjunction with the movie that
Yeah,
came out, and so let's just all right, cool. We're gonna have a semi, retcon of the Marvel of the Captain Marvel character to co-sign with the movie, and so we're gonna just totally disregard the fact that she was Miss Marvel for about 30, 40 years,
yep.
right? And so let's not do that anymore. We'll have her just always be Captain Marvel, and then people ate it up, man. So
the
it sold well.
the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe is based on, believe it or not, folks, in 2008. Actually, we'll go all the way back to 2005, 2006 at San Diego Comic Con, when when the creators of Marvel Studios and Jon Favreau sat and Kevin Feige sat on the stage in Hall H and announced Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. You knew who Iron Man, especially who the Incredible Hulk was, and the Incredible Hulk was still over at Universal. But they, if you look at Marvel in 2005, some of their top selling books weren't Iron Man, was not Thor, was not Captain America, was not the Incredible Hulk. It for damn sure wasn't the Avengers. It was Spider
Mm-hmm.
Man and the X Men, and it
Mm-hmm.
had been like that since 1990. I mean, that's what sold. I mean, you go back and it's no secret that those were the books that sold. But, and I asked Sid this, had Sid Johnson this, I had him on a podcast I did back in about 2012. I asked Sid, I said, what are your top sellers right now? And he goes, believe it or not, I'm selling old books. And now Marvel's kind of and he kind of told me they're redoing these old storylines or reintroducing these characters because the movies are doing well. So memo to Marvel, let it breathe, and if they bite into it, then sell. That's how it works. If Shang-Chi kills it, which I hope it does, I'm looking forward to that movie, then you re-release the book. But no one gives a shit about the character until it's up on the silver screen. Sorry, man.
Like no, that's the absolute damn truth,
Yeah,
man.
I
Like
saw that book and I'm like, oh, the artwork is so good.
it's nice, but at the same time, like okay, you want to people add there because there's this whole again we're gonna go in this whole context, this whole this whole argument of like inclusion and wanting more stories and all that stuff from
Yeah.
people we don't know. Well, here's the thing: majority of your comic book readers, right, or comic book collectors that actually go out and buy the individual comic books, are dudes that have been doing it for the last 30 years. It is what it is, man. And specifically, if you want to sell that book right now, specifically in during COVID era, during this COVID era year, no one's gonna buy a Shang-Chi book.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know. I don't specifically know the exact number of Marvel's like subscribers per se on their online sites or their streaming websites. But I'm pretty sure Shang-Chi doesn't come out until on streaming website for until a while from now,
No.
and I want to see those numbers then. But like, no one's gonna be interested in a Shang-Chi book the same way they're not really interested in a Black Widow book. In the same way they're not really interested in the freaking Conan the Barbarian book that came out for it, right?
Yeah.
It was a crazy get they had Conan the Barbarian, but like no one's reading that book right
But
now.
no,
Not really.
Conan was a quick grab because they finally kind of got the rights back to it. So,
Yeah. So like
real,
it's yeah.
we could chase this rabbit all day long. I think maybe
Mm-hmm.
we could.
We
Jr. I'm
could
not gonna put
touch
you on the
yourself some.
spot, so I'm gonna let you breathe.
Uh-huh.
I'll let you go enjoy the purple and gold. Okay, come up with a
Okay.
great topic for for episode number 20.
Okay.
But I got some flex pull real quick.
Oh,
For
when you pick your stuff up, I'm gonna say my worst show. My worst show.
Oh, okay. So you get the worst show out of the way. We'll end on a good note.
Okay. Okay. So have you? I don't know why I even seen this freaking little movie that came out from Netflix. But I guess it's more so because the drama. Have you seen the trailers for Cuties?
Oh God, yeah. I haven't. I don't want to. I don't. I'm just going to put it out there for the National Security Agency. I'm not a pedophile, and if I click on that, it's just for work related. I don't want to do it. I feel dirty. I would feel dirty about it. I just
I got caught up in the hype. I got caught in the hype of saying like this is a freaking horrible like why is like I
yeah
watched maybe a couple of minutes of it or so, right? I saw a little bit of
yeah
it. I'm like, okay, I feel wrong here.
yeah.
You watch this. Yeah, and then like I went through this whole thing of myself like all right, let me go see up views and then go see like what's actually like is there worse than what I saw, and there was worse than what I freaking saw,
Yeah.
and I'm like, huh, how did Netflix see this? Like,
And they're trying to spin it that it's. You're right. It is dirty. It is pornographic. It is
hey,
terrible that these kids are being put through this. That's the point of the documentary, and I'm like,
yeah,
it
but at the
still
same
doesn't need
time,
to be made.
but at the same time, here's the thing: you don't need to showcase that with 11 to 12 year olds.
Thank you.
That's why the reason why we have actors in the world around that same age, because you don't glorify child exploitation with
Yeah,
children by exploiting them.
yeah.
So the like that I understand the whole I don't
It's the
understand the whole
same reason why I didn't like the show that was on whatever it was with what was her name, Boo
what
Boo, Honey Boo Boo or
oh
whatever.
yeah that's a whole freaking different conversation. Yeah, that
But
crap we're talking about freaking
but
like
I was on the
those
same level with
pageant
that.
moms.
I know, and that's what this Cuties is supposed to be about. Is just showing the exploitation of pageant moms, and I'm like, we saw that already. It was garbage. It was with Honey Boo Boo, and it was
Yeah,
terrible. And it's like, yeah.
but yeah,
Don't even get
that's
me
my
started
worst.
with like, what's up?
That's my yeah. That's my worst show of September, and I can't believe that's in
I'll second that.
September. And then that let's just okay finish off with something good, dude. And then
We're
I
gonna
gotta
finish up
watch
with
some.
something good. Flex pool of the week. Thank you to our friends. They're not a sponsor, but cool. Every couple of months, I get Marvel Collector Core. It is the official Marvel Collector box of Funko. You get it on Amazon. Check it out. Amazon, if you're listening, we'd love to be a sponsor. It was Marvel Zombies this month. Check it out. We got Deadpool with Headpool. Now, if you can kind of see right there, of course, there's a little green slime coming off Headpool and some green slime on old Wade Wilson's katana right there. So, pretty cool. I'll actually have pictures of this on my Instagram at Voice of Reason 23 because I am one of those savages that unboxes these things. we got the Red Skull, and get the reflection off of there. Got a little bullet hole right there in the old chest. Got a little flesh wound right there in the old chest there from. You can see it right there in the cartoon version, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Actually, just update. They pushed back the game to 4:30, so I'm cool.
okay. Um, this is kind of cool. This was Virtual Con 4 in conjunction with, I believe, with the New York Comic Con and Funko. Um, this is to benefit the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. These were two special Funkos that were released with DC and Funko. Just a real side note for those of you, of course, we are in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the month of October. So, because we are a not safe for work kind of podcast, do us all a favor. Find an organization, make a donation in the name of whoever you want to make in a donation. We need to save the boobies. Just putting it out there. Simple as that. It is the number one. I think it's the number one form of cancer with women. And it's not just exclusive to women. Men can get breast cancer as well, but it is the number one killer of women when it comes to cancer, and I think it's like number two behind heart disease
Yeah.
for women as well. But again, I have family who have survived cancer, not breast cancer, but have survived forms of cancer. And I tell you one thing, those donations, they go a long way in helping research. There is research being done out there. And so anyways, with that said, Pink Batman. I know this just screams at JR because he is the Dark King. He is a huge Batman fan. But I know that deep down inside the Dark King, he loves him some Pink Batman. So right there,
Funny enough,
very much a callback to the old original Batman Funko that they released back in the day. But
yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool. Oddly enough, between this one and the pink Wonder Woman that came out today, these are Target exclusives, limited supplies. I think there was a few left when I picked these up about 10 o'clock this morning. You can get them back in the video game department. Just talk to them. Anyways, believe it or not, between these two choices, my 8-year-old daughter, she picked the pink Batman.
Yeah, funny
And the
enough
final
too.
flex pull.
I talked.
What's that?
I talked about before you that. Funny enough, when I talked about Multiverses End, right, the comic book series from DC,
Yep,
it
yep.
had the Rainbow Batman. One of them was the pink Batman. There was basically the Batman who had like the powers of Justice League, or no, the powers of like the Green Lantern Corps. So yeah,
Did
there was
you
pink Batman.
see? Have you seen some of the Funkos that got released today?
No, I did not.
I know
What's
you're
going on?
not a gigantic
Not
Funko,
anymore. Not anymore. I
but there
was.
was a really cool. Maybe I'm gonna have to find it on Target. Um, let's see here. I know for the people watching the or listening to the audio podcast are going like, "Wow, we hear Kevin typing. That's so riveting." Um, there was, of course, a huge. Target released all of the X-Men universe from like X-Men 1 and X-Men 2. They had some kind of cool what they call black light Marvel characters, but I'm trying to find, and they had some really neat um, Disney ones, but I'm trying to find the Batman they had. It was a graffiti art Batman. Um, Gosh darn it, I'll have to find it. I'll put it on. Maybe I'll put it on social media, or I'll share it. But nonetheless, some really cool stuff. They had these characters that they took and they did like a graffiti art on it. There was a graffiti art Jack Skellington. You can see that on Amazon, going for about $20. But really neat Funkos. The Batman one was the hot ticket item this morning. I think that was the what do they call it in the Funko? That was not the diamond. It was a oh gosh darn it. They have a special name for the like their exclusives.
No,
Even Barnes and Noble used to have them. Like there was a.
Oh,
You're gonna say the word, and I'm gonna go like, "Yo, that's it."
I don't
It's not
recall, dude.
exclusive. It's like the I don't know. Anyways, this was the big boy. The other one is on its way. It'll be here for an unveiling next Sunday. But this is Mewtwo, the great and powerful Mewtwo, the 10-inch Mewtwo, exclusively at Target. Limited supplies. You may have to find it online at this point. But Mewtwo, which hit the shelves in its regular Funko form earlier this year, got its 10-inch before. Actually, the 10-inch was supposed to be out back in March before the release of the regular size figurine, but COVID hit and it got pushed to fall. There are some more Pokemon Funkos that are going to be coming out in the next about 30 days. I know some of them have already started to roll out if you order them directly from like GameStop or from Funko's website. But I have to wait till November because I ordered mine through Amazon to save a couple of bucks. But nonetheless, that's my flex poll for the week, and hopefully we'll have some more stuff. I might start saving some of these boxes, and we'll do an unboxing, especially with the Funkos, just to irritate the Funko enthusiasts who have small heart attacks or get triggered when you open. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it right now.
Do that right now.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh man, dude, don't bring this this juju on me, man.
It's what Wade Wilson would do.
Oh god. You know, I haven't been collecting Funkos in a while, dude, but I still kind of cringe when I hear when I hear that stuff open. So I'm not trying to look.
Deadpool and Headpool right there. Come on,
Oh
can't beat
gosh.
that. It's so meta right there, dude. I think it's great because literally the only thing showing in JR's room is the
Uh,
reflection of his Funko collection in his mirror when he
yeah,
moves his head, and
yeah,
it's just they're all
right.
still in the box.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I'm gonna have Wade sit right there,
Don't you put that evil on me?
right
Yeah.
there. Deadpool and Headpool right there.
Oh my gosh, man, you're gonna bring some evil on us, bro. But all right, universe, all right, pop culture people, my Funko
send
dudes.
your send
It
your
wasn't me.
send your hate tweets to @voiceofreason23 on Twitter or on Instagram.
It was not me. So don't you guys be opening up comic books, man. Yeah, stuff. Don't
Yeah, I
send
could
that.
see. JR, I could see you.
Oh my gosh, you're
Oh
gonna
my
get
gosh!
hate.
If this is what gets us uh, to get some comments
Oh,
on our YouTube channel of me opening. I
boxes.
will. You know what? I'm going to put the title for this episode is
Oh,
the best and worst of September 2020 slash Kevin opens up Funkos because I am going to get so much heat. I mean, we're talking nuclear heat for opening up Funkos live on a podcast.
dude,
Um,
you know, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say you have more than another Funko out. I'm not gonna dare you to do anything. I'm just saying you have another Funko.
well, the two pink ones I'm going to wait because the pink Batman is for my daughter, and if she wants to open it up, she actually does open most of them. Um, I will end on this, and we can wrap things up. I do have the Mewtwo probably won't get open for a while because I
Mhm.
actually have another 10-inch Pokemon Funko that I haven't opened up. I have a 10-inch Vulpix that I haven't. Oh, we lost Jr.
Yeah, I mean, I accidentally put down the stop video rather than
But
actually
anyways,
fine.
I actually have a stack of some Pokemon that I'm sorry, some Funkos that I haven't opened up from almost 2 years ago. It was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. They were the the Halloween costume, the costume contest from Big Bang Theory,
Mm,
where the cast went. You got the Virgin and the main cover. Nice.
I got two of them. I got two pairs of them.
Who's the artist on that one? Give a little shout out.
Peach Momoko.
And then let's see. They were San Diego Comic Con exclusives that came out the day before Comic Con. You got them exclusively at Walmart. I love Magic. I just everyone draws Magic so well.
Especially
Um,
Campbell.
so it was Raj, um, Wolowitz,
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Dark Moon Knight.
No, that's Cal. I forget his name, but he's in Venom.
Okay.
It's a homage to Spider-Man. So.
So, oh yeah, to 300.
Mhm.
So you have Raj as Aquaman. You have Wolowitz as Batman. You have Leonard as Green Lantern, and you have Penny as Wonder Woman. The four major characters from. Oh, I love that cover.
Mhm.
The four major characters from Big Bang Theory in their event in their Justice League uh,
Capes and thing.
costume cosplay whatever. My wife, I'm literally driving to San Diego. This was on a Sunday night. This is for 2017 Comic Con, I believe. No, 2018. Apologize. And she texted me because I sent her the link. I said, "Hey, this literally just came out. This is the Funko release sheet for the exclusives for Target, for Hot Topic, for Walmart, for Amazon, for FCM, for whatever it is, the toys, and for Barnes and Noble."
Mhm.
And I said, pick and choose what you want. Plan your day. I have my buddy Jim buying some for me. Chick's gonna try to get me some through the comic book store, but I want these ones from Walmart. And so she took the kids down, got in line, and got these ones. She said, "Do you want any duplicates?" I should have told her to get me duplicates of the entire line. I said, "No, you know what's going to be a hot seller, or it's going to be for resale, is the Penny as Wonder Woman." And at the time, they actually showed the number of how many they were going to they had manufactured, and actually, Penny as Wonder Woman was a low end print run, or a manufacturer run.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Yeah, it's going to be Penny's Wonder Woman." Oddly enough, the two that became the most valuable were Wolowitz as Batman and Raj as Wonder or as Aquaman. So I do have those two, but I told Danielle only buy doubles of Wonder Woman, which she did. It's the only Funko I have duplicates of. And I mean, all of them are still in their box. It's the only set that I'm really, really tempted to leave in the box.
Mm.
Because I think, other than, which is funny because if you ask, Funko actually put out their own um, collector app
Mhm.
where it will
Yeah.
tell you what the value is. And Funko will tell you, we're not, the rating is not based on it being mint in box. Funko doesn't give a crap. Funko wants them out of the box. I've actually taught my wife went to the Funko HQ in Everett, Washington, and she asked, she's like, "Do most people? What's the opinion of people that work at Funko on box or no box?" People that work at Funko says, even from a collector standpoint, take them out of the box. We value them based on their rarity. He says, "Yeah, if we say that a Funko is worth like the 10-inch Pikachu, which is probably one of the more valuable ones that I have, it's out of a box. It retails at 30 still, but it's valued based on even Funko's standard. I think it's like 60 or $80.
Mhm.
New preem condition in box, it's 150, but it still holds a profitable number of about $50, because it's retails at 30, but it's selling even out of box at like about 80 based on Funko's scale.
Mhm.
So you can still turn a profit, but yeah, Funko's app, if you download it and base it on
Yeah.
those numbers, it actually does. Based on what I've talked to, it does. It's based on even if it's out of box. So I'm like, I'm not going to sell them anyways, but I know I have a couple friends that watch the podcast that are going to go like, "Oh."
That I will say that is just I gotta love you, homie, but that's all to say. That's just Kevin's long roundabout way of saying he doesn't give a damn. He's gonna open his damn Funkos.
I'm gonna open up the Funkos. I want them. My wife
That
has
whole
in her
that
has,
whole diet, like wait, I gotta love you. That whole diatribe that you went through the history of everything, or the history of Funkos, and they're opening the box. That was just him saying that. That's just him justifying him opening it from the box. That's all that really is, guys. That everything
not
he
gonna
just heard
lie.
from now, that everything you just heard from now, right, is just him pleasantly saying the reason why it's okay for him to justify opening it from the box.
I'll sell
That's it.
anybody who wants it. I'll sell this box right here. Sell it right. I'll sell it to you for right now, for $30. You want the box? You can have it. I'll sell it to you. I'm not gonna include the Funko.
And he threw the box.
I took
So
the box.
there you go, guys. There you
Guys,
go.
thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Thank you for sending the hate tweets to yours truly on why I am uh,
Just him, guys, just him.
at Voice of Reason 23 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Send them over
Yeah,
here. I don't
just
care.
him.
Bring it on.
Unless
Look
it's
at J-
Mulan, you could definitely send me hate tweets if it's Mulan,
JR has all his Funkos still in a box. Okay,
which I intend to sell.
most of mine are not. But I am willing to trade some of mine. I do have some that actually I got um, in an estate sale, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
No, a friend of mine was downsizing, so he gave me some. I have some that I'm willing. I might give them away on
Mm.
air, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And I'll give him full shout out for it and give him a little plug when we do so. But I've got some cool ones. I'm just kind of downsizing the collection a little bit because we're going to be moving it, and I've got some actually that are really cool from the Hateful Eight that I might give away. Shout out to my buddy Phil who gave them to me, and I don't feel like I'm regifting it. I think I'm making a Funko collector happy, find him a happy home. So maybe we might do that. I might downsize some of my Funkos into somebody else's Funko collection because I know JR is not going to take them because they're not in a box.
No, no. I intend to sell most of this stuff off anyway. I think right here. I'm not gonna say exact numbers, but this is a pretty big penny right here for me.
Oh yeah, and you got some good ones.
Yeah. So
Anyways, thank you guys for supporting the show. You can find us again on most of the podcast platforms. We are still waiting to hear back on the next big platform that we will be added to. I can't talk about it yet, but it is going to be a biggie. But you can find us on the iHeartRadio app, which is the number one app for podcasts. You can find us on Google and Apple Podcasts. You can find us on at anchor.fm/PS Comics I Love You. And of course, you can find us on Spotify. You can also, if you're listening to us in the audio form and you want to find out how to get to the visual form, so if you want to go backwards, just find one of our social media platforms at PS Comics I Love You on Instagram or Facebook, or PS Comics I Love the letter U on Twitter, and click the link to the YouTube channel if you're listening to us on audio and want to find the visual. And of course, pscomicsilove you at gmail.com. That's where we tell you to send the hate emails. Subject matter: Kevin, you suck at opening your Funko Pops. But he is Jr. Kambakungan,
King.
the Dark King, at voice or sorry at not Jr. Comics 42
Yep.
on Instagram, a Facebook and Twitter account coming soon. And
which I only post there very sparsely. I intend to start again, guys. I apologize, but yeah,
it's all
I
good.
I have a lot of stuff on my phone. I don't post it. My bad. So, but
That's all
you
right.
also find, but it's also to my left, my co-host here, Kevin Pillow, aka.
The Voice of Reason at Voice of Reason 23, where I do post when I can pictures of my comic book collection, and you can hate on me for what I collect there as well. So, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you here next week for episode 20 of
Yep.
PS Comics I Love You.
And by that time, guys, I'm pretty sure we'll have something rolled out, and I'll be in a much happier mood because Lakers will be our 2020 champions, NBA champions at that time as well.
Go Dodgers! I'm not rooting for the NBA. Go Dodgers! They play this week against the Padres, so got some. We
Uh,
have some San Diego fans.
uh,
Oh, real quick, got to end on this one. We'll finish up with this one. Thank you for everyone who both listened and watched this podcast, especially from my man's home country, the Philippines. Represent. We have cracked into the
I'll keep that.
Philippines this past
But,
week. That is awesome. I love it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, how excited was it when I sent you that link?
I was surprised actually. I was cool. I got people from I got people from my home country saying what's
So
up. Probably being into the whole comic book realm as well. Seeing what I was doing. I do know that there's a lot of up and coming comic book artists
yeah,
coming out of the Philippines, man. There's been a huge resurgence. Like we've always had great comic artists, or just artists in general back in the Philippines. But like it's just being really like evident now, and so you have a lot of up and coming ones, or in just people coming up that's been there. Jeremy Opinion being one, and he is a great artist right now that's been in it. We have, of course, the old school guy. I forgot his name. He was with the MG guys and see and all of them. yeah, he's in it as well. And yeah, it's hey man,
I,
thank you all
I,
for supporting. Another
yeah, I
Filipino.
can't say thank you enough
So
for everyone who has
yeah,
reached out and downloaded this little podcast that JNR and I continue to do to this day, simply
mm-hmm.
as an opportunity
We're
to
nerds.
voice our
Just like talk
opinions
about stuff.
on comic books. I mean, this is the ultimate opportunity of nerds arguing about who shot
Yep.
first, Han or Greedo. This is the end all end all. But I was super stoked when I opened up the the little
The app thing.
analytics
Yeah,
of our podcast, and
that's cool.
we have been heard now across the United States, Canada, Mexico, the UK,
Mm.
Germany, and now the Philippines. And
Oh
thank you
yeah.
so much. And again, if you are listening to this podcast, I don't care if you write what language you write it in. I want you guys. If you're listening to us internationally, please send us an email, pscomicsILoveYou@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys, and I want to post. I want to give you guys some shout outs on our Instagram page. I will post if you guys want to send us an email, anything positive you want to say, especially if you're listening to us internationally. That is really and truly,
Yeah.
that means so much to me
Yes.
that I love my friends and family who are supporting us here in the States. But it means so much more that this has grown into a global thing.
Yeah.
So
And if there is
definitely.
something, and if you guys do send us something negative, just send it to Kevin. I'm pretty sure it's about the Funkos.
All right,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Have a great week. We will see you next week with PS Comics. I love you. Peace.
Later. Cool, man.